Welcome to the Oasis stage. This is the National Costume Show. Your hosts, Luca Vandy and Mirella Burek.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Tanzania. It's a pleasure for us to celebrate this amazing show in your beautiful lands. My name is Luca Vandy, and with my partner Mirella Burek we will present the National Costume Show.
You're right, my dearest Luca. Today we will see to our 106 delegates parading in their national costume. Are you ready to witness the beauty, glamour, magic and too much feathers? This is the National Costume Show 2021. Live from Tanzania. Let's start.
Albania. Albania's national costume is inspired by the colors of its flag. The representation of the flag and its colors are: the red represents bravery, strength, valor and bloodshed. Meanwhile, the wings of the costume are part of the eagle that is shown in the flag, which represents the sovereign state of Albania. Albania.
Angola. The national costume name is Colors of My Country. The national costume was inspired by a 17th century queen as well as colors worn by women in the southern part of her nation. Angola.
Argentina. The national costume is called the Queen of the Andes, and it is an allegory to the perpetual snows in many areas of the Argentine Andes. Argentina.
Aruba. Aruba's Carnival is the name of this national costume, and is inspired by the Caribbean Carnival, where the African roots of the island are celebrated. The costume is made from thousands of Swarovski crystals in a wide variety of shades of blue and yellow feathers from native Aruba birds. Live life, enjoy your roots. Aruba.
Australia. The costume is inspired by the late Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. He is a well-known TV personality in Australia and also a passionate conservationist who believes in promoting environmentalism by sharing his excitement about the natural world rather than preaching to people. Australia.
Austria. Timeless beauty is inspired by one of the nation's biggest artists, Gustav Klimt. Her dress features the artist's iconic patterns and his remarkable art style. The intricately designed golden frame is a reminder of Austria's glorious past and a golden era of culture. Mariela's headpiece and necklace include shiny gemstones and diamonds from the renowned Swarovski firm, one of Austria's most well-known companies. With this breathtaking composition, Mariel wants to show that Austria is stunning in many ways, with beauty that is truly timeless. Austria.
Bahamas. The goddess of corals is the name of this beautiful costume and represents a goddess who keeps corals in security, as they are important in the balance of marine and terrestrial life. Bahamas.
Bahrain. The Golden Sands is the name of this beautiful national costume and represents the big deserts of Bahrain. Bahrain.
Albania. Angola. Argentina. Aruba. Australia. Austria. Bahamas. And Bahrain.
Bangladesh. The sari. This national costume is worn with a blouse glued to the body under the strip of fabric, and a type of petticoat, called parka or alpavadai. Because of the extremes of temperature in the Indian subcontinent, the sari has both a practical and a decorative role. Not only is it warm in winter and cool in summer, it also allows for the greater freedom of movement that daily activities need. Bangladesh.
Belgium. This national costume is about Belgian chocolate, because Belgium is one of the biggest chocolate exporters in the world, and is internationally known for them. Yummy.
Yeah, I know.
Belgium.
Bhutan. The was introduced during the 17th century in an attempt to lend a unique identity to the people of Bhutan. All Bhutanese citizens are required to observe the national dress code, known as Drigalim Namesha, while in public during daylight hours. All Bhutanese have to wear their national dress in government offices, schools and all formal occasions. Bhutan.
Bolivia. Strength of the Andes. The blouse features more than 10,000 beads and sequins embroidered by hand. The hat was made with beautiful colored feathers and with golden thread and 10-meter long. More than 40 handmade skirts as gold colors out of reverence of the sun. Bolivia.
Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia traditions and haute couture. And it is the garment presented to a collection by the famous designer Valentino, who wanted to celebrate the Bosnian land, rich in colors, folklore and beauties. Represents the strength and charm of Bosnian women linked to the strong roots of traditional Bosnian families. The woman is represented as a wealth and a symbol of prosperity and maturity. Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Botswana. Traditional evening gown used in ceremonies and weddings throughout the region of the country. Botswana.
Brazil. Majestic coral of the Brazilian Sea. This costume represents the beautiful corals from Brazil's coast. Brazil.
British Virgin Islands. The white cedar. This national costume represents the British Virgin Islands national tree and flower, mostly deciduous tree with shelly pink flowers. It grows on any soil type and will adapt to poor or degraded soils if moisture is available. Valued as a timber tree, it has been widely planted for both reforestation and ornamentation. British Virgin Islands.
Bangladesh. Belgium. Bhutan. Bolivia. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, Brazil, and British Virgin Islands.
Brunei. This national costume represents the gold and the wealth of Brunei.
Is short.
Yes, is short, but pretty. Brunei.
Burundi. The national costume is representing the colors of the flag of Burundi, red, green and white. Okay. Burundi.
Miriam, stop it.
Okay. Burundi.
Cambodia. Cambodia.
Cameroon. Her costume represents the old women in her country who are the main people who help reduce the effect of global warming and climate change by planting more green plants and other prevention methods. Cameroon.
Canada. Save our indigenous people. This national costume represents hundreds of unmarked graves were uncovered at a former indigenous school. The native people has been killed and is represented in this costume. Miss Canada says she is proud being native indigenous, and this national costume is a message for all those supremacists to stop killing them and protect their culture. Canada.
Chile. This national costume inspired by cherries, one of the main export fruits worldwide. The headdress is the cherry blossom fully embroidered in stones and crystals. The body with a single sleeve contains many fringes and canetillos, and from this hang cherries and crystals, while the skirt is made of many petals, made of Italian silk, embroidered in stones and crystals that give an original touch to this creation. Chile.
China. The Beijing opera is a kind of Chinese opera that began in the mid-19th century and became extremely popular among the court of the Qing dynasty. It is considered one of the highest expressions of Chinese culture. With their elaborate and colorful costumes, Performers are the only focal points on Peking Opera's characteristically sparse stage. They use the skills of speech, song, dance and combat in movements that are symbolic and suggestive, rather than realistic. China.
Colombia. Ocaso del Cocano. This dress is a work called for the protection of the environment and the reduction of global warming. It is made in the technique of basketry and cotton biases, and the accessories are in bronze with a hand-hammered technique. Colombia.
Brunei, Burundi, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Chile, China and Colombia.
Comoros. The national costume represents the typical food of Comoros, the lobster a la vanille. The dish is usually topped with clover sprouts and served immediately.
One please.
Oh, for sure, one to hear. Comoros.
Costa Rica. The typical part. This costume represents the national symbol of work declared on the 25th of November, 2005 oral and intangible heritage of humanity by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. She also wears a wheel on her back inspired by the art of the Costa Rican artisans of Cirque. Costa Rica.
Cuba. Hereditous. The costume represents the Cuban Carnival and Caribbean Carnival with the color yellow symbolizing the sun, summer, with feathers inspired by the terrestres national bird of Cuba. Cuba.
Curacao. Costa de Amazonia. Represents the wealth of the Curacao fauna and how it is in a natural state, being an example of conservation and environmental care. Representing multicolored seas, trees and animals. Curacao.
Democratic Republic of the Congo. Bombo Supreme God. The national costume of Congo is inspired by the creation of the earth, which was flooded, where the supreme god Mbambo created the sun, the moon and the stars. By creating the sun, he made the earth warm, and the water evaporated and created clouds and rain. Mbambo, the supreme creator, gave the lands of the Democratic Republic of the Congo incredible landscapes, gifting the jungle and the endemic species of the nation. Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Dominican Republic, Queen of the Seas. This costume represents the sea that hits the coasts of the Dominican Republic and those who inhabit it. Millions of species, animals and plants, are part of it, and this costume reflects the great wealth of marine life that this country has. Dominican Republic.
Ecuador. Colors of my country. The costume represents the indigenous communities of Chon in Ecuador. The wings bear the colors of the Ecuadorian flag. The size and movement allude to the wings of the condor, Ecuador's national bird. Ecuador.
Egypt. Sekhmet. Sekhmet, in Egyptian mythology, is the ancient Egyptian goddess of revenge, war and medicine. The center of his cult was the city of Memphis. The Egyptian goddess is represented with the head of a leoness and has the heat of the sun as her main power. Egypt.
Comoros. Costa Rica. Cuba. Curacao. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Dominican Republic. Ecuador. And Egypt.
England. The Army culture. This costume represents the British Army dress uniform from the Second World War, who was released between 1939 and 1945. The costume was stylized and created in black color. England.
Ethiopia. This national costume represents a traditional outfit that all the women in Ethiopia's country wear on the holidays. This handmade dress is created by the people of one of the few tribes that lived in Ethiopia. Ethiopia.
France. Night in Paris. This national costume represents the designs that are used in the most famous cabarets of the French capital, such as the Folies Bergère or the Moulin Rouge.
Jitchi Jitchi Yidada.
Come on Lady Marmalade. France.
Germany. The Dirndl. This is the most known dress in their culture, and you probably know it from Oktoberfest. The Dirndl is a ruffled apron dress that consists of a bodice, or blouse, and a skirt. In the 19th century, the Dirndl was the standard uniform of servant girls, but today it is mostly worn in Bavaria and Austria, and like lederhosen. Usually for Oktoberfest, where we dance to brass music. Germany.
Gibraltar. This national costume represents the national flag. The flag is a symbol of Gibraltar nationalism and is very popular among Gibraltarians. For Gibraltar National Day, many Gibraltar homes and offices hang a flag in their windows and balconies, and some people even wear and dress their vehicles with a flag for National Day celebrations. This was also seen during the 2004 celebrations of British Gibraltar's tercentenary. Gibraltar.
Greece. Goddess Athena. This national costume represents the Athena as the Olympian goddess of wisdom and war, and the adored patroness of the city of Athens. A virgin deity, she was also somewhat paradoxically associated with peace and handicrafts, especially spinning and weaving. Majestic and stern, Athena surpassed everybody in both of her main domains. In fact, even Ares feared her, and all Greek heroes asked her for help and advice. Greece.
Greenland. When Icelandic Vikings first began to colonize Greenland around the 10th century, the Inuit people who lived there wore attire made of animal skins. The Inuit used the skins from polar bears and seals to make clothes and boots, or kamiks. As with everywhere with extremely cold climates, skin served as functional protection on the freezing Greenlandic tundra and in kayaks on the water. Greenland.
Guatemala. The quetzal. This costume represents one of the most beautiful birds on the planet, considered by the pre-Columbian civilizations of Mesoamerica as a divine bird associated with Quetzalcoatl. The feathered serpent. In addition to being the national bird of Guatemala, since 1871, its image appears on the national flag and the coat of arms of our country. Guatemala.
England. Ethiopia. France. Germany. Gibraltar. Greece, Greenland and Guatemala.
Haiti, Caribbean mother. This costume is a tribute to the Caribbean Sea and the wonderful things it brings to Haiti, including one of the most common activities in Haiti, which is fishing. Haiti.
Hong Kong. The history maker. This national costume is a fencer uniform. In Tokyo Games 2020, Hong Kong foil fencer Chun Ka Long catch the second ever gold medal since 1996. So this costume represents Hong Kong in 2021. Hong Kong.
Hungary, the Queen of Flowers. This costume represents the beauty of the gardens of Budapest in spring. Hungary.
India. The goddess of Navratri Durga Puja. This national costume represents a great autumn festival as well as the largest socio-cultural event of the Hindu populations, a rite to celebrate the goddess Durga. India.
Indonesia. The Bukirti. This costume represents the sky and land of Indonesia. The back detail symbolizes the uniqueness of Indonesian cultures as well as the traditional artifacts that exist here in Indonesia. Indonesia.
Ireland. Celtic warrior goddess. Inspired by one of Ireland's most notable magical legends, warrior Queen Maeve. In Irish folklore, Maeve was a fairy queen known for her intoxicating beauty and is known as the goddess of war and feminism. Fiercely independent and protectress of women. This Celtic warrior queen brings us awareness of feminine power and passion. Ireland.
Israel. Salome. This typical costume referring to the famous princess of Israel that reflects the power and sensuality of Israeli women. Israel.
Italy. The Annunciation. Italy.
Oh my god, too much information.
Maryland, control it. Italy.
Haiti, Hong Kong, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Israel, and Italy.
Jamaica. This costume is mixed between a Jamaican flag and the carnival is a different and fresh costume that has strips all over the body and a small flight behind, and on my head I wear the crown that represents the country. Jamaica.
Japan, the Princess of Sakura. This national costume represents one of the most beautiful flowers in the world, the sakura. Japan.
Jordan, the dancer. This national costume represents the costume used in belly dancing. Jordan.
She can dance whenever, wherever. I love Shakira.
Jordan.
Kenya. Ancestral purity. This national costume symbolizes the religious wealth of your tribe and their ancestors. Kenya.
Clarissa. The national costume she wears is the costume that Caribbean women wear to do their typical dances. Clarissa.
Korea. The hanbok. This national costume represents the traditional Korean dress. They are often characterized by bright colors and simple lines without pockets. Korea.
Kosovo. The European Kosovo medieval. This costume represents a dress of haute couture about feudalism representing the European Kosovo medieval church, with the color wine that means courage and acceptance. Kosovo.
Laos. Maitreya. This national costume represents the Buddhist tradition. Maitreya is a bodhisattva who will appear on earth in the future, attain full enlightenment and teach pure dharma. According to the scriptures, Maitreya's coming prophecy refers to a time in the future when Dharma will have been forgotten by most in the earthly world. Laos.
Jamaica, Japan, Jordan, Kenya, Clarissa, Korea, Kosovo, Laos.
Lebanon. This national costume represents the clothing of this country. Lebanon.
And no more?
Wow. No more. Lebanon.
Lithuania. The Lithuanian national costume was started to be created at the end of the 19th century, the beginning of the national liberation movement, and upon the formation of the national self-consciousness. Peasants' holiday traditional garments served as the background for the creation of the national costume. Lithuania.
Malaysia. Mayangahaya Bayo Borneo. This costume is one of the kind which represents the strength of the Borneo women as a warrior. The details is handmade as well. The colors combination symbolizes the richness of peoples and cultures that Malaysia have. Malaysia.
Mauritania. Team's national costume is a luxury representation of the typical costume worn by women in Mauritania every day. Mauritania.
Mauritius. Rise like a volcano phoenix. The national costume represents a phoenix risen from the lava of a volcano. It represents the history of Mauritius, an island risen from the lava of a volcano. Mauritius.
Mexico. This national costume is inspired by the Tabasco culture. The costume shows some endemic emblems of this region of the country. References made to the flowers, typical embroideries of the Tabasco gala dress, feathers, headdresses refer to the floats that parade a pre-Hispanic dance of the Tenochtitlan Carnival, which is considered the rarest carnival in the world. Mexico.
Morocco. Morocco brings us a black keftan with gold embroidery, a typical costume in Moroccan fashion, but it also brings wings and a golden headdress. This symbolizes hope for freedom and equality towards Muslim women around the world who suffer sexist harassment and are deprived of their rights. Morocco is one of the most liberal countries in the Muslim world. but brotherhood and solidarity is demonstrated by supporting all countries that suffer from abuse. Morocco.
Myanmar, the golden soul of Burma. This national costume represents the peacock as a symbol of Burmese unity for many people in Myanmar and is a reminder of the beauty of the nation and the hearts of its people. The country is famous for its many golden pagodas, is adorned with the national flower of her country, the Thazin orchard, Myanmar.
Lebanon, Lithuania, Malaysia, Mauritania, Mauritius, Mexico, Morocco, and Myanmar.
Namibia, Diamond Paradise. This costume is inspired by one of the most precious stones in the world, which is the diamond. Namibia is one of the biggest producers in the world and from the places where large slabs have been extracted, and for that reason Miss Namibia wants to exalt this beauty that it gives us most of their economy. Namibia.
Nepal, Shave Queen. This is a representation of the Hindu god Shiv, and it represents the purity and innocence of the spirit. Nepal.
New Zealand, Mermaid Down Under. This costume represents a mix of a little girl connected with between New Zealand Hawaiian roots. Mermaids represent not only her spirit but the beautiful legends of the sea. New Zealand.
Nicaragua, Bulawa. The costume is inspired by a mythological being from the Mayagna community. Lawa, which means goddess of water. The headpiece is decorated with more than 1,500 shells and snails that I was assembling into necklace beads. It also has a structure in the shape of fish fins, which in its outline I placed 500 blue and white feathers, her dress in tone and silver beaded in crystals to resemble the water. Nicaragua.
Niger. This national costume is representing the Koredorif Reserve, one of the country's tourist spots. Niger.
Girl. Short but effective.
Oh yes it is. Niger.
Norway. The bunad. A bunad is a traditional folk costume that you find all over Norway. The best time to see the outfit is on Norway's National Day, when the streets are full of bunad-wearing Norwegians of all generations. You may also see people wearing one at weddings and other celebrations. The smart, colorful outfits are made with wool, meant to be tight-fitting, and are adorned with metal buckles, buttons and jewelry. Accessories vary and can even include blades. Norway.
Panama. The national costume seeks to represent the passion, color and exuberance that characterize Panama, and at the same time is a tribute to the richness, abundance and diversity of birds in the Panamanian territory. Panama.
Papua New Guinea. The national costume she wears represents the outfit worn by women to perform the typical Papua New Guinea dances. Papua New Guinea.
Namibia, Nepal, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Niger, Norway, Panama and Papua New Guinea.
Paraguay. The jasmine. The national costume represents the jasmine as the national flower of Paraguay. Its simple and admired beauty inspired the design of this costume. More than 1,000 pieces of silver and crystals make it shine, and the red crown is the color of the top of the Paraguay's flag. Paraguay.
Peru. Typical costume wearing an elegant and cool chain surrounded by a great wheel of strength and courage, the blue color that gives the strength on her head, wearing a crown made of wood and colors to represent of the country. Peru.
Philippines. The fabric fruit. The Philippines is known for making cloth with the banana fruit, so this time we see the Philippines wearing a typical dress from their country, paying homage to this fruit. Philippines.
Yummy. I want a piece please.
Philippines.
Poland. Polski Hatneradae. The national costume of Poland pays tribute to the Polish national embroidery, where the enormous cultural wealth of the country is shown. It has in its course a traditional floral embroidery from the Malopolska region made with gold threads. It has a crown, reminiscent of the past where Poland was a prosperous monarchy. The design is made of silk, in colors from black, red, wine color and gold. Poland.
Portugal. The national costume of Portugal represents the traditional ceramics of the country, present in porcelain tiles and crockery, mainly dishes. Portugal.
Puerto Rico. The national costume of Miss Puerto Rico is wearing is a wonderful homage of the late and international renowned astrologer Walter Mercado. He left a mark not only in his native country but in all Latin America with his whimsical astrological predictions for each of the signs, which are all present on the wings of the costume. His face is also adorned in the back to show his usual pose he is also known for. Puerto Rico.
Russia. The Golden Makosh. This costume represents a Russian goddess of women and fertility. An ancient Slavic goddess. I want to represent the strength of the Slavic women and the power we have in life. Russia.
San Marino. The national costume of San Marino represents the medieval period of the country, as San Marino gained independence from the Roman Empire on the 3rd of September, year 301. San Marino.
Paraguay. Peru. Philippines. Poland. Portugal. Puerto Rico. Russia. And San Marino.
Seychelles. Her national costume represents the sea that surrounds her country and the marine life of the Seychelles. Seychelles.
Maybe we can sing under the sea?
Oh Miriam, stop it. Seychelles.
Sierra Leone. Her costume is inspired by the canna and deca flowers in her country. Sierra Leone.
Wow, these girls go too far with their description.
I know, Luca. But we love all our girls. Sierra Leone.
Singapore. Singapore's national costume inspired by the culture of Singapore with culture is Chinese because Singapore has many nationalities living together. One of them is Chinese. Therefore, the Chinese culture has been introduced to design this national costume. Singapore.
Somalia. Their national costume represents festive clothing that women wear in their country. Somalia.
South Africa. The Zulu Party. This typical costume represents the musical, textile and design richness that the Zulu culture has. The accessories symbolize the cultural variety that exists in South Africa. South Africa.
South Sudan. Sudanese lion warrior. This costume represents the African animal which is lion. The lion represents the strength, dedication towards being the warrior of Sudanese. South Sudan.
Spain. Folklorica. The national costume is a tribute to the great singers of the Spanish copla, such as Lola Flores, Rocío Jurado, or Mary Fay de Triana. Spain. Mother of God. Spain.
Suriname. Blue magic. This national costume is inspired by the beauty of the blue butterflies from the Amazon region, which for Suriname are a symbol of joy and happiness. Suriname.
Seychelles. Sierra Leone. Singapore. Somalia. South Africa. South Sudan. Spain and Suriname.
Switzerland. This costume resembles the monarch society, but it is possible to observe some touches of his own country that make a difference. The woman wears a long dress that fits her chest. It is usually made of highly elegant fabrics such as satin. This garment is only up to the chest, which means that a shirt must be placed under it that covers all that part of the body that had been exposed. The sleeves of this shirt are 3/4 length. It is possible to observe that the woman wears black ribbons around her neck that fall over the garments, and this is what causes an illusion of decoration on the typical costume. Switzerland.
Tanzania. Tanzanian Queen. This national costume represents the evening gown of the women royalty. Tanzania.
Thailand, the phoenix of the ocean. This costume symbolizes the phoenix of the ocean which exists in the story of Thai people. This phoenix has a blue sparkling wings which shows in the costume as well as a flash of waves represent her beautiful strength. Thailand.
Timor-Leste. The national costume represents the Thais, the national fabric of Timor-Leste, and it's used to do everything. Timor-Leste.
Tonga. Tonga's national costume represents the art of this country called Nkatu. Tonga.
Turkey. The Kuryai. This costume is the modernization of Kuryai. This detailed handmade lace costume represents the modern version of Ottoman woman called Kuryai. Turkey.
Switzerland, Tanzania, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Tonga, and Turkey.
Uruguay. The Candom. The national costume of Uruguay is the typical costume of a vedette from Candom. The fire theme is to symbolize the passion that is reflected in the markets of the drums when parading through Isla de Flor Street. Uruguay.
USA, my great nation. The suit represents American pride, so the huge wings represent America's abundance and freedom. USA.
Venezuela. Stylized costume that recalls the traditional carnivals of the country, such as the Callao Carnival, the Sun Fair in Merida and the Caripano Carnivals, parading with excitement and sensuality. Venezuela.
Vietnam, Dragons, is a gold-coated jumpsuit with 9 dragon heads attached on the headgear and the back of its waist. The number is a nod to the Mekong Delta, whose name in Vietnamese can be translated into 9 Dragon Delta, referring to the 9 distributaries of the Mekong River. Vietnam.
Wales. Wales.
Uruguay, USA, Venezuela, Vietnam, and Wales. And we finished. Oh my God. It was wonderful, don't you think, Luca?
Sincerely is that they are all amazing. It will be very difficult to choose just one winner. Please comment right below under the description which were your favorites. And on the final night we will see the winning national costume.
For our part it is everything, and we will see you next week for the preliminary competition. But before, subscribe our channel, give like and subscribe in all our social media. These is Miss Sim Universe 2021 live from Tanzania.
I'm Luca Vandhi.
And I'm Alan Barrick.
Bye bye.